if we look at how we do that at Lowe Co, and we think about like the engine room that we've got, I can probably talk a little bit about that. Because we know intimately how important this leverage piece is. We can help that agent leverage and get to the next part, the next sort of stage, without too much of the, too much.
It's a huge number of hours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many hours does it take out of a transaction?
So our engine room takes 30 hours per transaction. So one list and sell would have 30 hours taken away from it that a salesperson doesn't have to do.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Welcome to episode 8 of the LoweDown, Wellington's #1 real estate podcast. Today, I'm joined by my good friend, business partner, Jason Lowe, who's our Director of Growth. And we're going to talk recruitment, we're going to talk agent flywheel, and we're going to talk about coaching and all of the things that make, growing a real estate agent wonderful and exciting and fun for us. Jason?
Yeah, totally. It's good to be here. I'm so glad I could wrestle the desk away from Adam.
Yeah, that's right. I know. After 7, you'd think he's pretty much a fixture now.
You would. Yeah.
You know how he loves to put himself out there, doesn't he?
He gets paid by the word, is what I heard.
So, Director of Growth. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, I guess it's an all-access pass in many ways. It's one of those titles or one of those roles, I suppose, that enables you to go anywhere because growth comes everywhere, right? We talk about growth with the bottom line, but we also want to talk about growth with people, growing leaders, growing, every aspect of our business. And so I can range wherever I'm needed and wherever I think I can make a difference.
And of course, Lowe Co has been a fast-growing agency. It's something we're really proud of, and something we're going to continue to strive for. So we love having your skills. So
Thank you.
I know where you've come from, and I know all about you, but not everyone does. So tell us a bit about your background and what's made you so good at getting involved in business growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think when I first started out as a sales manager, because that was it, I was in media. Well, I actually started out as a lawyer. If I go back a little bit further, did that for a few years.
Thank God you didn't end up doing that.
I know. Well, I did enjoy the study, and I had a great opportunity working with Simpson Greason up in Auckland, and they were really good to me. Gosh, they taught me how to answer the telephone, and really was finishing school, for a young person like me. It was amazing. I did do that for a few years, and then I ended up transitioning across into media, and I got my first straight commission sales job selling radio ads, and then kind of moved through into management, as you do, into sales management, general management. And I guess my style ultimately was coaching. I mean, I found it really natural to lean into finding out what it was that people wanted to get from their professional lives, and to do whatever I could to try and
Well, you have a natural gift for
Thank you.
deeply understanding what motivates people and what they're thinking, and I think that's a real talent of yours. And
Thank you.
Obviously, I guess the coaching side of it has helped develop that even further beyond your own natural born with talent. So,
it has. I mean, it provides you with a degree of confidence that what I used to think, because I had about 13 years in media, and I thought that I could only do it in media. I thought that was the only widget that I could work with, the only environment I could be in. And when I got out and I started contracting and consulting, and I realized that in many ways, all businesses are the same. They're all confronting similar challenges, particularly as it relates to human beings. So you can be dropped into that environment, and if you've got the skills to engage with people, then you can make a difference in almost really any environment at all.
Nice. And now we're going to really dive deep into how we can, really lift agents game and make them incredible salespeople, like best in class. A little bit later on. But before that, let's just address something. Your last name's Lowe. My last name's Lowe. But we're not brothers. So.
No, and you're not my dad.
No, that's right. That's right. So just for people out there, that's just random chance, wasn't it? That was,
it's just one of those really quirky coincidences in life. But just to really complicate matters, of course, the way that we got to know each other is through, you're one of your original business partners and my beautiful wife, Angie.
Yeah.
So who
a very special person.
Very special human, and continues obviously to be an enormous part of, the Lowe Co team. And then just to add another dimension, a little bit of spice to the whole thing as well, we've now got another generation, right? So we've got young James, who's also, who's Angie and my son.
And what an incredible edge he has in life coming from you guys and jumping into real estate. So.
I mean, you normally run the opposite way to what your parents do, don't you? It's the natural thing. But he's obviously picked up on what a great career it can be, and it's done really well.
Yeah. So we could change the name to Lowe Cubed, couldn't we?
We could. There's plenty more Lows to come out there. There's generations of Lows to come.
So shall we talk about Agent Flywheel? Get into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're really big on getting clarity in terms of what drives business growth.
Yeah.
And for a new agent starting out, or any agent for that matter, the way you and I think about this is if a listener could imagine a flywheel,
yes,
with 3 big levers on it.
Yep.
And a flywheel being something that the faster you spin it, the faster it spins. So it's sort of a compound effect or a kind of growth effect. Right?
Hardest bit's getting the momentum, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And so for an agent to simplify it, get clarity.
Yep.
3 main things.
Yep.
Leads.
Yes.
Listings and leverage.
That's it.
Shall we unpack those?
Let's do it.
So first of all, obviously, it all starts with leads. Unless you have people that are willing to sell their house through you, or buyers that are wanting to buy through you, you've got nothing in real estate. A truism in real estate is you wake up every day unemployed, right?
That's right. You make your own to-do list.
Yes.
And that's the respect that I certainly have as a coach, and I know you will as well, for all of the salespeople, wherever they're working, straight commission salespeople particularly, get up every day, make their own to-do list. It's a you got to be brave.
It's exciting as well, though, right?
Yeah, totally.
I think that's for me anyway. That's like when you wake up in the morning, you've got to hunt, and you've got to go out there and have an exciting day because you don't know what Some people thrive off uncertainty, and some people hate it, right? And I think that probably the thrive part is perhaps a little bit less people thrive off it than love it. But it is a fun part of it is waking up not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah. I mean, I find with salespeople, like there are always. I mean, the thing that seems to kind of draw, like all great salespeople seem to have this one thing. They're either chasing something or they're being chased by something. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, I think. And it's necessary. I mean, what else is going to motivate you to go out not knowing whether you're going to earn anything that month unless you've got something, bigger than you to think about to get
And the idea of something being so binary, that idea that all of the office politics and a lot of those kinds of things tend to fall away. Like, when you're chasing straight commission, when that's the way that you're living, then it's kind of it's a simple dynamic. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it's a simple dynamic of focus, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the rest of it's just noise.
Yeah, agree. And so if we think about leads as the first item that people need to focus on, then we're really talking about finding people. And there's obviously there's 80,000 houses in Wellington. Yeah. So if you start as a real estate agent, straight away you've got 80,000 potential people to sell who might want to sell at some point, and owners of those houses, and then obviously a large portion of that make up buyers. Yeah. So I think on day one you need to start a database. Yeah. A database of people, and then you need to start sifting through that database for leads. Yeah. And if we just go through quickly the flywheel effect, if someone pulls that successfully, and we then they move on to listings, right? So listings is converting that lead into business.
Correct.
We're talking more on the listing side, the selling side than the buying side right now. Yeah. But if you get a listing lead, you then need to be able to convince that person that they should trust their largest asset that they own, generally speaking, a huge amount of their net worth with you to realise that asset. So that's a big piece of it. So one of the first things a new agent, for example, should learn is what their value proposition is to a person selling their house, and how they can explain or show that value in a short presentation that's going to be compelling, and that person's going to understand how they're going to get them a great result, or at least get the outcome that the person wants.
Absolutely. I mean, everything being equal, there are a number of things that all agents, wherever they work, are going to do, aren't they? That's just part of the process to get the house sold. So what differentiates them becomes really, really important. I mean, when everything's equal, we make a decision to work with people that we know, people we like more, and people that we trust more, right? Yep. So the likability element's really important. So we're always looking, aren't we, to make sure that our agents are in good form, that they're getting out there, they're looking after themselves, that they're presenting really well and they're in a likable form. And the trust part is demonstrating their expertise, isn't it?
It's a great point about conversion as people, people buying from who they know, like, and trust. So if we unpack that very quickly, obviously, one thing we have learned is that there there is a real estate agent out there for every owner.
Totally.
In the sense that, and what we mean by that is that there's a range of personalities. It's not just the charismatic salesperson. It's not just, you can't box good salespeople into one form. Yeah. There is, a range of people. And I think that, for anyone listening that wanted to get into real estate, that's encouraging, right?
Yeah. Most of us know 1,000 people. We don't realize we do, but we kind of know 700, 800, 1,000 people. If you look at your phone, you look on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is that you're using, there's just so many names and contacts, and that's your sphere of influence, and that's the place to start.
Totally. And so people need to get good at learning how to find their tribe. Yeah. So their database becomes their tribe, communicating with that database regularly, building trust, so that and building authority, so that when they turn up, they're the surgeon that can get the job done. They need to be likable because people buy off who they like, and then they need to have a great listing presentation so they can convert business. So you get that right. Once they've honed that sword, you've now honed the ability to create leads. Hone the ability to create listings by converting those leads into listings, which then means that the market comes to you, right? Buyers and sellers come to you, because now you've got a network going on, you've got open homes on the weekend, you've got people inquiring, and from that, of course, you can use that momentum to get more business. So we know that the flywheel is now spinning, right? And so we don't stop that original prospecting activity or databasing. We keep building on that while we now have the market coming to us, which is feeding that, which is part of the flywheel. But of course, there's a leverage piece that we haven't talked about. So the third, we've got the leads, we've got the listings, and that's doing a lot of magic at this point. And now we've got the leverage. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I think there's two things going on. Always like you're listing and you're selling homes. That's really important for vendors and buyers, right? But the other part is you're actually building a business inside of a business. Yes. And what we know inside any business is that it's got to outgrow. It has to grow beyond the time that's available and the capability of the leaders in those businesses. And that's what we do with leverage, is we help agents spend an amount of time and get the thinking right and really understand how to build their business inside the Lowe Co business. And that's the leverage element.
Because otherwise you just got a job, right? Yeah. That's the reality of it. It's not really a business until you've got systems, processes, and people that are supporting you to grow.
A job working for yourself, and you're often not a great boss.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sort of self-employed job, which is kind of the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
In a way, right? Yeah. Now, so if we think about that, building a business within a business, the way I think about it often is once someone has got the leads and the listing sites going, then of course what happens is they get busy. Yeah. There's a lot of, I think, misunderstanding in the industry, or not within the industry, but outside the industry of what actually goes on in the workflow of an agent.
It's intense.
It's intense, right? Like the administration side of it. And the issue becomes, if you've got 3 open homes on a Sunday, and you've got to call back, so your first thing that you've got to do is follow up, which you should be doing, Sunday night, Monday morning if you haven't got through them. Then the problem becomes suddenly 5 people want building reports, limb reports. Yeah. You've got new business, new appraisals you're trying to get done. You've got database
email, blah, 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 text,
things are just your workflow is just increasing like mad as you're spinning that flywheel. And so now of course people help becomes essential. You can't, and you're missing opportunities. I think this is the big insight, right? Yeah. Is that while you are in that zone, and a lot of people can go quite far with that zone before they decide to leverage through getting
what's the first thing that goes?
Follow up and the things that are going to help help them.
All the things you were doing to get yourself to you were busy, right?
So people's income starts to go like this. You get this massive, they're madly prospecting and getting listings, madly selling those listings, and of course they're not doing the prospecting, not listing, and then they have to start again. So throughout the year they have this kind of really big swings in income and big swings in the type of activity.
And it's draining because the most draining part of anything is building momentum in life. And so if you're constantly covering the same ground
like on a treadmill,
it's draining, and also it kind of gets in your psyche a little bit because you feel like you're on this hamster wheel you can never get off.
And you and I know exactly when the spot is. We can see this happening, and we know that that's the point someone needs to leverage and get some help. Yeah, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So obviously this is something I was doing a long time ago before Lowe Co even started, was building a team or a business within a business. Yeah, and I suppose, if we look at how we do that at Lowe Co, and we think about like the engine room that we've got, I can probably talk a little bit about that. Because we know intimately how important this leverage piece is. We actually built a team of administrators, because normally the first hire that a salesperson would make would be to get a PA, wouldn't it? Totally. But of course, often these salespeople are really, good energy. They're great with people. They love going to see the houses. They love closing deals. But the administration side of it, they have to learn because they've got to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not their favorite part about it.
Not so much. Yeah.
So they're often not, innately great managers. They don't want to think about HR, culture, keeping people happy, holiday pay, all of the stuff that goes along with keeping an employee busy and happy and having empowered to have a great life.
Yeah.
So therefore, that becomes something that distracts them when they try and do it. So that insight, because that's the first leverage decision that allows them to then get more business on. Yeah. And we said to ourselves, if we can take that first hire away from a salesperson's workflow, then we can help that agent leverage and get to the next part, the next sort of stage, without too much of the, too much.
It takes it's a huge number of hours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many hours does it take out of a transaction?
So our engine room takes 30 hours per transaction. So one list and sell would have 30 hours taken away from it that a salesperson doesn't have to do.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And if you think about the average days to sell now is 40 to 50 days, whatever it is, right this second. So if you think 30 hours over that 40 days that someone has to do, they can use that time to spend prospecting, which they otherwise wouldn't have been able to do, which then is what gets them more business.
Or, they can spend half of a prospecting business building and the other half they can spend with their families and the people they love and exercising and doing the things they enjoy.
Yeah, so we're really proud of that. I mean, it's a really a great part of Lowe Co's growth. It's one of the reasons why people come and join us.
It is.
Right, when they first come is because they really want to get that support. But of course, it's not the last. I mean, then of course, if we think about in terms of hourly rates, in real estate, you might have, some real estate agents can get up some very high hourly rates if they're very good at it. Sure. Now, that's not the norm. No. But if we were talking, say someone gets up to a $400 or even $500 an hour rate, that certain activities are probably earning $400 an hour. Yep. Some activities are probably earning only $150 an hour. And some activities like administration type tasks are probably earning about $30, right?
That's true.
Because obviously, if the engine room can do that for them, then they're not having to do that themselves. In which case, they can spend time doing the high value activities. Yeah. Which is why they're earning $400 an hour. Yeah. And then at some point, getting some sales help on the sales side helps the whole model and the whole.
And the flywheel spinning.
And the flywheel spins.
Yeah.
So a quick recap before we move on from agent flywheel. We've got leads. People have got to figure out how to database, how to find their tribe within the 80,000 houses of Wellington, how to uncover and search through that and filter through that to get leads.
You can never have enough leads, you never drink enough water, right?
Exactly. Yep. And then they can conversion, so convert that into a listing, which then brings the market to them, which then allows them to get more leads. Yep. And then they use leverage, which is obviously, people and systems and processes and things like the engine room to then allow them to even just spin that flywheel faster and faster and faster and build a really decent business. Good summary?
That's a good summary.
Great.
That's what we see every day.
Cool.
Yeah.
So in terms of, moving on from that, obviously I mentioned that that's a big reason why people come and join Lowe Co. We've been growing fast. I mean, as an agency, have salespeople as part of our, we really are supporting the salesperson. So, recruitment's a big thing that you and I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really enjoyable part of what we do, actually. We get to meet some incredible people, don't we?
Yeah, I absolutely. Now, obviously, when we first launched Lowe Co, there was 5 of us. Yep. 4 agents and 1 administrator. Yeah. We're now over 50 agents and
bang on 50 right now.
And we've got 65 people in the office. So there's another 15 people, full-time employees. Yeah. So obviously, when we started, we didn't have the resources to train people from scratch. So we kind of fell into a different model, and that model was, we knew that we had the top agents in Wellington at the time, and so we really leveraged that piece of being the best agents in town, and we continued to run that model of only employing successful agents who were very high volume agents and keeping that brand quite premium. And of course, we did get a reputation for being quite tough to get into in terms of, we weren't taking on anyone. In fact, at one point, I remember, we used to talk about it a lot, but we'd actually said no to more salespeople than we'd said yes to. And that wasn't through, it was just through the fact that we just didn't have the resources. It wasn't anything saying anything bad about those people, but we couldn't take new salespeople on board.
Yeah, we couldn't meet the expectation,
Things have changed?
They have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time. I mean, heading into next year, I think, you know, we're heading into a time where, you know, it's great that we're resourced well enough now. We have the sort of capacity as a leadership group, as a business, to even be able to do this kind of thing, to have these kind of conversations, to be able to pull the curtain back and share what we consider to be best practice in terms of what's worked. Oh, I mean, I feel like there's this real opportunity now for us to do what has been done for every agent, including you, including me in different industries. Everyone gets a chance to get someone gives you your first job doing something, right? You can't get experience unless you've done it for the first time. So I think it's time that we actually lean into this, put back into the industry, and actually started, just doing our bit to make sure that we're grabbing new people that want to get into real estate, training them up, and getting them
Find the next superstars.
Find the next superstars.
Yeah,
you bet.
So I'm excited about that. Really excited about that.
Me too.
I mean, there's nothing I get more joy now in my life than waking up, tap dancing to work, because I get to see, people grow as personally, professionally, as leaders and as salespeople. And if we can take people now from zero, take them to 12 sales, and then take them to 22 sales, and then take them to 40 sales and 60 and so on by helping them with leads, listings, and leverage. That's an incredible buzz for you.
Well, it is a buzz. It's great to see what happens to that person, and it's great to see what can happen for families as well, right?
And of course, we over the time, that's going to be a great journey for us. But also, we're still attracting agents from outside of the industry, outside of our business, that are highly successful, and they come here for a reason. And I think, there might be a perception that, there's a sort of poaching element to this, or that, people that if we're out there taking people from other agencies, are we doing something wrong with that? And I think, what I would say to you, Jace, and you will know this already because we're doing this together, but everyone has the right to grow.
They do.
And if you think about the agent, the agent is consuming the platform that is provided to them by their supplier, which is effectively their agency. Our customer as an agency is really the agent. So we're trying to do the best job we can of providing the best home in terms of culture, growth, teaching them about the agent flywheel and how to build the best business. And so agents should have the 100% ability to move freely to the agency that is going to give them the right support and where they can get, the best future.
It's a principle, isn't it? It's a principle.
Exactly. Exactly. So, we're really confident in what we're selling, and we're really confident that and I think, the average growth in the first year of an agent coming to Lowe Co is 40% growth. And so, and then we haven't talked about it yet, but there's a pay progression as well, where we pay, not only do we support the agents in the best fashion, but we have some of the best progressive pay in the industry. And we know for a fact that unless you're on that progressive pay structure, it's actually almost impossible to get the leverage that you need to build a big business.
Yeah, that's right.
And we've got, we know there are other providers, that obviously with their sort of their pay structure, you can see that the sort of furthest people can get is kind of forming partnerships. And you see the agents never really bust through that ceiling. It's because there's no margin in there for them to either, just make more money or use that to reinvest in leverage and actually build a bigger and more successful business. So I think if you unpack, why people come, it's actually a fantastic thing for them, for their families, for their futures, and every agent, even our agents in our office, should always be assessing: are they getting value where they are, and is there something better? Because opportunity cost is hidden. And if you could be way more successful somewhere else, then you should go.
Totally. And we put our money where our mouth is, don't we? In our contracts. I mean, we don't have a restraint of trade in there.
Correct. So
correct.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't suit restraint of trade it really doesn't suit the real estate industry. I mean, it should be a free market for agents to go where they want, and it's their income. You can't restrict their income, restrict their momentum. I mean, it's really used more of a stick than anything beneficial for the agency around there. Right?
We don't want to hold anyone that thinks that they can find something better. Right?
Totally. So a huge part, obviously, of growth is coaching. And Jace, I know because you've been a mentor to me, and it's been amazing to have you on board, and so I know what a great coach you are. Do you want to sort of unpack that and just talk about what coaching is, how you approach it, and how that relates to growth? Yeah,
sure. Well, it is a subject close to my heart, and I do respect straight commission salespeople, as we've mentioned, and so I think it starts with that. It starts with a mutual respect. It starts with actually wanting to understand what it is that people want to get from real estate. Because if I think about our 50 agents down there, we've got people who are wanting such different things from their real estate journey. And I think coaching enables you to get into a conversation where you seek to understand what it is that people actually want to get, rather than a sort of cookie cutter, one size fits all, Mad Men 1950s style management where, coffee's for closers and you make this number of calls and that's what happens. So first, that's the first bit, and we stay in that. We stay in that until we both have a real deep understanding, and the business has a deep understanding of what people really want to get out of it.
So you talk a lot about people's aspirational self and their real self, and the gap between those. Would you say that's a key part of the
it is. We all have that, don't we? We look in the mirror and we see ourselves a certain way. And so all of us are working through our lives saying, well, my aspirational self says I'm going to knock on 10 doors this week or make 5 phone calls or do this particular business building task. But our real self gets caught up in a whole lot of other things. So I think with coaching, once you've established what it is that you really want to get out of real estate, and we understand that, is we start breaking that down. And another piece of coaching is accountability. And a lot of people think with accountability, so I'm going to be accountable to you. It's like, no way, I don't have time for you to be accountable to me. I move on to the next session. I'm focused on wherever I am. It's your business. You're the one doing it. I'm there to be an accountability agent. A mirror is a good way to think about it. When I'm there in accountability mode, I'm holding up that mirror. I'm reflecting back to you the things that you said you were going to do and achieve that week, and the things that you haven't. And you own that. And then we ask the question why. And if that happens a couple of weeks in a row, that's when we kind of, we flip the top and we say, well, what's getting in your way? What are you holding on to? What served you in the past? It might be a belief system. What served you in the past, looked after you, protected you, but maybe is getting in the way now and preventing you from being able to achieve the things that you want to achieve now.
And the cadence is really up to the salespeople, right? It could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be fortnightly,
and it changes all the time based on people's needs. So that's another part of it. So it's very bespoke. But I think the 3 modes I always try to keep myself in when I'm coaching, and will often articulate with the person I'm working with, is I'm either in strategy mode, accountability mode, or counsel and advice. Because sometimes you've been doing things a long time. I mean, I've been coaching salespeople for 30 years, probably on average about 20, 25 times a week, 45 weeks in a year. Like that's a lot of experience. That's a lot of experience.
Mate, I just want to say on behalf of all the agents at Lowe Co how lucky we are to have that experience in our business. I mean, it's just phenomenal, and we can see the benefit. We can see the growth that people are getting from that experience. So it's truly amazing. And I think as far as I know, we're the only real estate agency, at least in Wellington, that even has a lifetime business coach on tap for our agents to access all the time.
Well, thank you for making, not just me as a person, but thank you for making this function available inside our business. And I do hear that periodically from the guys, how much they appreciate that being there. I mean, motivation's another big one as well. And, people talk a lot about motivation and what goes into that. And when I started out in sales, and apologies I'm just going to reference the Auckland Radio Works sales team. I don't know what year it was, when my first sales job. I mean, wow, I did not know what I was doing, and I used every trick I had in the book for phone sales days, economic pressure, emotional pressure. They would have been stuck in inertia, all the things that actually withdraw motivation. I didn't know that at the time. Like, you can get short bursts of really strong activity, but kind of like eating a Moro bar for energy, it goes backwards, right? So what I've learned through experience and research is that the things that actually help people to grow their motivation and hold their motivation are the 3 Ps: play, purpose, and potential. Have we got time for me to just talk briefly about that? So the play bit is not kind of, table tennis, and jandals during the day. Play is actually enjoying the tasks that you do. So if you're a real estate salesperson, then there are a number of things that you need to do, which might be described as more in the category of nobility, rather than being sort of huge, big brainiac tasks, or it makes you a hero or anything else. I'm going to reference, say, putting an open home flag out on a Sunday when you're kind of dressed in your Sunday best and everyone else is in their shorts and t-shirts and enjoying their Sunday, right? So it's actually finding a way to enjoy, and then be prospecting as well. So it's finding a way to enjoy tasks and breaking it down so that people do link it up to the results and they feel good and they start getting the dopamine hits from doing things regularly that are good for them, but they're, aspirational self, real self. So, where their real self starts to meet their aspirational self is by getting those tasks fun and enjoyable. So that's the play bit that increases motivation. If you don't like the actual things you do in your job, probably just not going to like the job. The second thing is purpose. And, that's the why. And it's really important to uncover when we do that initial work with a coaching client, to discover their why. Like, why are you here in real estate? What is it that you're wanting to get? And then the final bit is purpose and connecting it back to growth. And we all know that resilience, huge part of resilience, you need that in this job, is actually, just being able to feel like you're growing and learning and that you're out of your comfort zone, but in a safe learning zone, not in a dangerous learning zone. And so, that's where I try to spend as much time as I can with people and pull them back to that place of play and purpose.
And a safe learning zone is that it's about their aspirations, not our aspirations, right? It's what they want to get out of it.
Yeah, we never dictate what someone should do in a year. Never had that conversation once.
Yeah, Jace, that's a masterclass in coaching. I really appreciate that. And it's been fantastic to chat to you about that today. And, that was the LoweDown. I really hope you enjoyed it. And please like and subscribe. And, we'll get back and we'll do it again next time.